So you want your beard to look like this. The number one tool needed to achieve it is going to be the pick. In the video, I'm gonna show you how and why we need the pick. And I'm also gonna show you how to get this exact look from the razor to the fading and to the sculpture. Once you have your fade already finished, we're gonna start moving into the beard. I like to keep it right at top ear level before we start the fade. Probably below earlobe, right here is where we're gonna stop with the two. First, we're gonna go in with our open, no guard, from top ear to middle, that's around a finger length. And then after that, we're just gonna go in with our closed to lightly lighten this up. And then a good amount of lever play here. Once we're done that, we then move into our half guard. Not a full finger length, we're gonna do about half a finger length, so right around here. The finger length here was gonna be our 1, and then we're gonna go to 1.5 and stop at 2 right at the earlobe. So here is gonna be our half. Then we're going with our closed after we put in our half guideline, and then we're just gonna lever play. So I'm just gonna put the lever right in the middle. And then once we're done that, we then move into our 1. Again, from the top half here of the ear, we're gonna go full finger length. So that's gonna be 1, 2 finger lengths down. Gonna go move into our open. And notice how I'm coming in from the cheek inward, because we're going to not put a set guideline in. As you can see, it's not, you can still see the darkness and the light, but we're not putting in a complete line in here to where it's gonna be so hard for us to take it out. So we're just gonna go in from the cheek, corner notched out and in. Same thing here, we can corner notch with the 1 closed from out to in. So start out and then slowly work our way in. Moving into our 1.5, same thing, we're gonna go from out to in. So on this side, we're gonna go open, 1.5, open, 1.5. Because the beard is going left and right, depending on the hair pattern, if it was straight down, I would just be going up. But because it goes left and right, I go on this side to go against the grain. If it's going left, I'm going right. If it's going right, I'm going left. So since it's going this way left, I then go right. And then we're gonna go in a little bit closed. What I like to do after this, after the 1.5, is then move into our 2. Earlobe, just like we said, open. And then closed. Then after that, just to get rid of this length here and how big of a chunk it is here, we're then gonna go in with the 2 open and just go down and flick out, down and flick out. Then we're gonna go in 2 closed, down and flick out. Flicking out with the grain of the beard. Since it's going down, we are also moving down, and that's gonna remove a good chunk of the top portion of the 2. So that way we can then use the pick in order to fluff this out, and then we're just gonna sculpt his beard. If you guys are having trouble getting out the top guideline here, what I like to go do is use a little bit of trimmers. And then what is the easiest and most helpful for me is just using the top portion of your balders and lightly tapping the set area to get rid of the bald line. We're just doing little taps, not staying in there long because we wanna make sure it doesn't move our guideline. And then go in with trimmers, just a tiny bit, corner notching the trimmers. And now get the fade and beard blended perfectly if you're doing a skin fade. If you're not doing a skin fade, then you can just use the half or the 1. For the back of the beard line, what I like to do is use a little bit of a taper comb on the wide tooth angle. And then we're just gonna lightly tap just the very back of it. Keep it as natural as possible. You're gonna have to go over once or twice just to make sure to get some of the long hairs that are sticking out. And just like that, he has a nice straight line, but it's as natural as it can be. All right, moving now into the mustache. We're gonna put in a 1.5 open, and we're just gonna go down. Left side first, and then right side. Once we're done that, we then move into our trimmers. We're just gonna lightly tap the top of the lip making sure not to show too much lip and getting right around the edges of the mouth so that way the mustache isn't going into his mouth. Making sure not to show off too much of the lip. Go in with the taper comb as much as possible so that way the little hairs aren't gonna go in his mouth. Then on the other side, we're gonna follow the same steps. Brush down a little bit with the taper comb. Just touch the edge of his lip, making sure not to show off too much. What I like doing, instead of using the full blade, I'm just only gonna use the corners of the trimmers. That way it's nice and precise. Same thing, going right to the edge of the lip, making sure not to go so much to where it exposes the entire lip, and then just gonna lightly tap it. And just like that, we have done his mustache. What we're going to do is go in lightly with the tips. We're not going to use the whole length of the pick. We're only going to use a tip portion, and we're just going to go in and out. Make sure not to dig in too much because it's going to grab the beard. So we just go in with the tips, lightly combing it out with just the tips of the pick. So what you're going to want to do is freehand the clipper, and closed, we're just going to lightly take off 1/4 inch at a time. Making sure not to take off too much. Seeing us get a nice guideline, a nice shape. And then we have to pick it out a little bit more because that's not all the hairs that you got rid of. But at least we have our first base, we have our first layer of what we did. Then one more time, we're just gonna run it through. Closed, run it through. All the loose hairs. Third layer, pick it out one more time. You notice how the hairs are getting less and less, shorter and shorter, going in. And that works for our third and final layer. Using the pick really lets us get all the excess hair. The teeth are wide enough with the pick that lets us go into a big chunk of the beard and allows us to get the deep-rooted hairs that are stuck in between. The beard is a lot more coarse, so you need to pick it out as much as possible. You can't run it with a comb or a taper comb because it's gonna be too heavy and too thick and coarse. After you do it a couple pass-throughs on your third layer, you will then be able to use a comb. But the initial guide, even right now, you can see it still comes in and it's hard to pull. You don't want to drag and pull too much on the client's face. Yes, you can eventually do it and force it, but you're going to irritate your client and you're also going to irritate the skin, so I wouldn't recommend it. For the bottom of the portion of the beard, we're going to pick down and out to really expose the bottom line, making sure what we can touch and what we can't. What I like to do first is going in close, I just tap it right near the back of the throat, but we're not going to go to where we're touching his skin because of how sharp the blade is for this. It's not meant to be as a trimmer. We're just gonna get our first initial guide of it being straight. Then after that, we're gonna pick out one more time. What I like to do now is going right near the throat, and now we're going forward and out, away from the throat. This is gonna give us an easier time, so that way when we use our trimmers, it'll give us a nice guide. Now that you have the basic shape, what we're gonna wanna do is use our trimmers and just angle out as much as we can in match with the shape that we have, and just get the back of his neck. What I like to do is after I get the basic neckline down, is putting it in, and then afterwards we're just gonna go up with the grain, making sure that if he has an irritable neck, we're not gonna get it as red as we were getting it down. For straight razoring the beard, what I like to do is I like to stretch the skin as much as possible. First, we're gonna go in with the top half of the beard near the sideburn, and then we're gonna make our marker. We'll go to the bottom of the beard, right next to the lip, and make another marker there. We can make a straight line while stretching the skin, and it'll give us a nice contour of the beard. We then move the skin up, stretched out, and then we're just going to connect these two markers together in a straight line. Nice 45-degree angle with the blade on the skin, making sure not to cut him. Let go. And that gives us our nice guideline for the beard. So finishing up the straight razor, that's going to be the end of the video. Learn to use the pick as much as you can whenever you're doing the beard trim, especially when you're trying to get a nice sculpture. Again, always remember to use the tips. You want to make sure that your client doesn't get any type of hair pulling. If you guys enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps out the channel. I'll be posting videos every Thursday, so be on the lookout for every Thursday. I'll be posting more informational videos as much as possible.